Okay, there it is. Sorry, I had to move my microphone. Hey, how's it going? This is kind of episode 2. I'm a little tired, but I'm gonna be doing. I've been doing side quest shit. A lot of it's kind of boring stuff, but you know, I was doing it, and I'm level 3 now because of that, and I've got a jaunty hat. Check it. So there's that. I also got some gloves. I took the grappling hook and went up that path. And Aloth's level 3 as well. So he's got some new spells and shit. Actually, while I'm here, I'm gonna give him this cloak that I got. And see, there we go. Nice cloak, buddy. Alright, so we've done the leveling. When you rest at this inn, because you're supposed to for lore reasons, and you get a bunch of experience for doing so, you have a dream about a person who's been hung in the tree in the middle of town. So that's where we're gonna go next. And this is, you know, very fantastic in nature. The squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bough that sags at the tug of her nose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. That's how a hanging body looks. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it. Not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. I mean, I could just walk away, but let's touch the woman. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out toward the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there's a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing electrical surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and you feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman. And when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog, her body still swaying in a wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives you a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
I'm not sure what kind of accent this is supposed to be, but maybe like a gypsy woman mixed with a dwarf, but let's continue. How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
She gives you a motherly smile. I need to understand something that's happened to me. He nods, a look of pity on her face, as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
What's a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I.
No, not me,
I'll
no.
tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair. And here we are, visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times.
Before you were hung?
Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, And those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either living or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how.
I mean, that's contrived, but okay.
A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder.
What do you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
She smiles at you reassuringly, fanning out a tuft of long whiskers that sprouts from one of her cheeks. I guess she is a dwarf.
You should see old Merwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
Alright, so there's another guy who can see ghosts, and he's in Kadnua, which is important, and I gotta go talk to him. Why did I survive the Buick?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing.
Okay, what if it wasn't luck, though?
Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade.
What a good name.
Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me, no?
I think Strong Souls is going to be the next FromSoft game. It's like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, but strong.
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success.
No.
A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
So it's an interesting concept that the souls of the world are progressively getting worse. It kind of makes you fear for the future or something. And, you know, like, oh, my kids and my kids' kids. Which they currently are having trouble with kids who are being born without souls. So if the souls are always being born less, then perhaps they do have souls, they're just really shit, or whatever.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
Who you? New phone,
And
who dis?
here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
She sends a small beetle skittering from inside her cheek. That's gross. What happened to you? She laughs, a rasping, choked cackle escaping between rows of buttery yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with each spasm. Seeing your blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer. Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Probably nothing.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet
I'll be right back.
woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
Sorry, dog. I had to pee. Should have done that before I started recording. Okay. So, Lord, she is riddled with imbalances. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh yes, my lord, she is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. And as the birth grew near, he grew impatient, as lords do, and this is where I've ended up. All right. What's an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been made. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are.
Stop mangling souls, damn it.
But
Oh,
the
this
best
text.
of us, the best,
Jesus.
inspirations, miracle workers. My parents were soul twins, miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other, turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
I have other questions.
Of course, dear.
No, I don't. Bye.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Closes her eyes and her head slumps forward over the noose, and your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. I didn't pick the am I imagining this because it doesn't actually go anywhere, so. I got Crucible of the Soul. Well, there was that. Travel with Kednua.
17 and a half.
What? Smell of pipe smoke, at once earthly and sweet, winds its way into your nostrils. Your eyes trace the smoke to its origin, where you find a broad man with straw-colored hair leaning against a mossy rock wall, his pipe held to his lips with one meaty hand. He looks you directly in the eye, but the look is not aggressive. He regards you with a peculiar smirk.
17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
What are you talking about?
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Is that what you people do for fun around here? Says Aloth, without his voice actor.
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
I think that's the first time I've heard a noise representative from Grey Text. What was that about a dwarf?
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
Why did you assume that I was racist? Lose you a moment, his brow arches, his smirk
I was
broadens.
smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
I could be clever and say I don't drool half as much. I've been out of sorts lately. Of course, we all got our bad days when we stand perfectly still and stare at corpses for a while without blinking. Do you know what a watcher is?
Careful, friend. Let's not use that word round here. Could be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be.
So it's interesting that he brings it up this way. The Cipher has the most, like, in RP or in dialogue specific class options out of any class. Because Ciphers are kind of psionic and they can do mind control shit.
Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
What's that supposed to mean? Don't blame me, I don't have to say, you take my word for that.
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
The war? Saints War, only one in my lifetime. Fella decides he's the living incarnation of Aethys. Overthrows Raid Saris, marches on Direwood, so we gave him a Direwooden hello. Direwooden. What's a Direwooden hello?
Blew him up.
Blew him up. He smiles at this, but the smile is one of recounting a joke for effect rather than enjoyment. Who's Aethys? God of Rebirth and Redemption, formerly anyhow. Maybe they call him something different where you're from. I have other questions. I got time. Good. Good. Hey, you seem real busy. Why was your headman hanged? Got involved. Radric sent men down here the other day. Said they had it on good authority. Someone in this town was working with Kolsk, plotting Radric's overthrow. Said if he didn't come forward right then and there, they'd hang every last one of us. No one was coming forward, so Swithin, that's my headman, Swithin, he steps up and says it's him. They took him at his word. He sighs and shakes his head, his eyes fixed on the tree. Bound to happen sooner or later. If not for plotting against Radric, then for protecting me. What does your town have against you?
Picked the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea.
Why didn't they record we blew him up?
Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, and then I did too. But, he didn't make it back.
If he's from Direwood and his name's Woden, is he a Direwoden?
After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started.
How ugly?
Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me.
And then they did.
Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Radric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
I see. Elith glances at you and lowers his voice. You can see why I was eager to leave. Who's Kolsk? Someone who got tired of all the hangings. He's on the run now. Probably will be till they catch him. Alright, maybe I'll find Kolsk later. If you're next to be hanged, what are you still doing here? Drinking, mostly. Point of fact, I'm on my way out, I just haven't figured out where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there that don't think Widewind's legacy started with Widewind. We could travel together. Where are you going? Some place called Kednua. There's an old watcher there who might be able to help me.
Seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say Watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before.
Something kindles in Eddar's eyes, and the vigor of purpose finds its way into his voice.
Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger, and a strange one at that. But, truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
That's a fine reason if I ever heard one.
Alright then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing.
What?
Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
It's Kim. It's you. Lorelai woke me up around 6:20 using the bathroom outside my room. Left the light on. I figured I gotta get ready so we can go. Get ready in about 20 minutes of barfiness. And Emily's all, "We're not ready." I said, "That's fine." She's still wearing a towel with straps and her CPAP machine. She didn't get 4 hours of sleep. She stayed up all night on the phone. Meanwhile, Lorelai is talking to Megan about the Gravity Falls shit Megan bought her. Sorry, you gotta listen to me text. Alright. Get in my party. Yeah, now we got another party member, and I gotta level him up. So let's save the game. Maybe not a lot happened in this video, but we got Eddar, and I'm gonna level him up, and he's gonna be co-tank, and it's gonna rock. So see ya.